All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. Uh, Once again, we are back on site for another lovely program. Our skies are mostly clear, just a couple wispy clouds, so hopefully we'll have good viewing tonight, like we had last weekend. We are streaming this online, so welcome to our viewers who are in the online chat. I do have you, of course, here on my mobile device, so I can keep track of you. For those of you who could not join us in person, you can always check out our website, uacnj.org. That's where you will find a list of all of our talks and any special events we may be doing. In addition to that, you can check us out on our social pages, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those great places, and Discord. We do have a server there as well. Um, for those of you who are here, a couple safety briefings before we get into this. If you need to use the bathroom, we do have the porta potty to my right, your left. After the show, we do have the little museum and gift shop area through the door on my left, your right. Each of those little sheds you saw when you came in as you were parking all house telescopes, and the ones with the roofs rolled back are the ones that are open tonight. So, with that, we're going to get into tonight's program, which is Space Careers with Ken Taylor. Ken has nearly a decade of experience as an amateur astronomer and astrophotographer. His astronomy photographs have been featured in each edition of our UACNJ calendar and is a member of Northwest Jersey Amateur Astronomers in Blairstown. He always enjoys having a little fun while entertaining us all. And let's find out what he has to tell us about space careers. Ken, this is your cue. Do you need help turning the mic on? It should. It's on.
It's on? Oh, there we go. Hi, everybody. I dressed just for the occasion. Oh, and I can't wait to take this off.
I was about to say you dressed to die in this heat.
Oh, my gosh. That's terrible, huh? What? You have a problem with what? Oh, shucks. Let's get rid of that. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, Mustang, red, lights are on. No problem there, William. So, let me start out with number one. I don't know all the space careers. I only took the generic ones that I kind of assume and know that they probably would need. Number two, if you have a question, please try to save them to the end. Understand when we get at the end, including the internet, you guys there too. If I hesitate in any way, shape, or form about giving you an answer, and I do give you an answer, there's a 50-50 shot I'm lying to you. I don't know everything. No way. So, again, Jenny Jump State Forest has been hosting UACNJ for over 30 years. So, at least you know that we've been here around for quite a while. They haven't thrown us out yet. I don't know why. Space, space and the stars that are up there are out there waiting for you. You as young adults, you as middle-aged people, me as an old guy, nah. They don't even want, hello? There we go. They don't even want me, obviously, because I come out dressed like that. So, what do you want to be when you grow up? A lot of you already know what you want to be. What's going on? Okay. My screen thing is messing up. My button is stuck. Yeah, probably you do the clicky thing. Let's go. All right. There you go. Click anywhere. There you go. One more. One more. So when you grow up, you don't know what you might want to do. You're obviously here to find out a little something about space careers. So maybe you wanted to be an astronaut just like I did when I was younger, 10 years ago, because I've only been involved with astronomy here for about 12, 15 years. End results are, I'm sure you might want to be one of those, one of those maybe also. Let's look at some other outer space jobs that might interest you. Click, click. Like right here, you know, what's going on here? What about being a doctor or an astrodoc, whatever you want to call them? But Earth medicine and space medicine, two different animals. Okay, you're weightless. You have to stay in shape. You have to make sure that your body is maintained in its condition that you went up in. And end results are you want to make sure that they're definitely going to be working the same way as you left. So here's an astrodoc doing an eye examination on the International Space Station to one of the astronauts that were up. Or maybe an astro nurse. Why not? Nurses come male and female, doesn't matter. We're good. Next. How about being a person who develops food? We'll tell you a story about this. Maybe you could develop the food that will go up and help feed the astronauts. Do we have any astro ice cream? No. We used to have astronaut ice cream. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, unfortunately, the price to get that in went up, and unfortunately, our choices were by like 300 singular packs or one 500 pack. And 500 astronaut ice cream is a lot more ice cream than I know where to put. So
500. It would last forever. It's dehydrated. It was really good. The kids loved it. My one ice cream. Oh, here, have an ass. It's been laying in a cellar for 5 years, but here. So, a space chef, not a spaceship, a space chef. So the idea is that you be able to develop those foods today with the International Space Station. I mean, they're holding up, strawberries and going up and getting them in weightless, so on and so forth. Here's a situation. I'm going to stay right there. Situation was as follows: on the International Space Station, there was two astronauts, and they had finished their assigned operation and experiments that they were going to do it. Guy on the ground, hey Bob, looks like we're all done. No, Jim, hold on a second. I got one other thing. This is not necessarily food, but it was the use of food. He had a bag, just a plastic Ziploc bag, like a sandwich bag, with sugar in it. Here's where it comes in. A little bit about space. The guy shook up the bag on camera. All of a sudden, the little particles of sugar started to attract to each other. And they wound up being a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. Bob, you just proved something. Basically, mass. I would attract a little one real fast because their mass is less than mine. So, boing, they would be attracted to me, therefore building up a whole bunch of that stuff. End results are that's when a star gets born, when it gets about 10 times the size of our sun. I'm sorry, it's not space career, but it is science. The science in which I was just explaining to you is another aspect of space careers that can be utilized. Just coming up with these experiments. Next one. Here we have a spacesuit. How about being a spacesuit engineer? Now, this spacesuit is a little bit outdated, as we all know. But in the time when it was originally developed during we'll say the Apollo and earlier flights, Gemini, these are the types of suits that they wore. It took a lot of engineers to actually do that. But guess what? In our next screen, that's the SpaceX. What happened to all the junk?
so
What happened to
sleek.
the big bulky suit? End results are is that, go ahead. You have a question? We have Kim with a question right now.
Nah, they just sleek and smooth.
Oh, yeah, they got spandex on it. Woo! Just gonna jump into a dance. Look at the helmet. The helmet on the original space suit, I believe, weighed like 15 pounds, 20 pounds. This thing weighs next to nothing, guaranteed. Next. So, getting to the development and science of it, here's some engineers looking at a spacesuit and designing something to go onto that spacesuit. What it is? Blood pressure sensors, which they had in those SpaceX suits. It could be equipment for breathing, heart, or something externally. So, I mean, the engineering involved with this is really, really tough. You younger guys out there, you got the brains that I hope will get us all the way to Mars and back. What will happen within this century? It'll happen within hopefully the next 30 years. But either way, here's another screen. How about being someone who's an interior designer, okay, who likes to make up things? So here's something. What are you going to do to design something that people are going to need to be built, instruments and so on and so forth, that we will need in space? I don't know what it is. It could be detection of micrometeorites that could zoom right through the gosh darn space station, which it has, where you would decide on where it would go in the spacecraft itself. So that's kind of cool in itself. Also, the engineers would, of course, design tools that are needed to fix a spaceship. How about, a person who knows what tool they need, how to use it, where it has to go, what it's supposed to fix on an aircraft, so on and so forth. What happens if a toilet breaks? It's not like you can go outside. We have a porta potty. They don't have a porta potty on the no. No, they don't have a porta potty on the International Space Station. This is a picture actually of a astronaut in the early 90s. Somebody correct me, 80s maybe. When did Hubble go up? Because that's a Hubble Space Telescope, and they were doing a repair or a refit for the camera. Next. Here's somebody who's working on an oil change on a Mars rover. There's no oil in there. Oh my God. I know that. You guys must know that. It'd freeze. Obviously, yes, I'm just joking. Think about it. How to communicate to Mars, something to a rover. It takes 20 minutes. Make a left. It's not making a left. Well, it's not making a left because the signal hasn't even reached Mars yet. 20 minutes for it to go, oh, do you want me to go left? That's going to have to change somehow. How's that going to change? I don't know. We're talking outside our science. But who knows? Maybe you can be one of those people that actually do that development and design. Next. We have a look at space stuff and that is currently in place. How about the spaceships, you young kids, looking at jobs in the future that you may be people that will be designing and building and driving something like this ship? Obviously, everybody knows that. That's from Star Trek. The next one, Beyond, whatever. That's the one with Gene Hathaway, the captain of whatever the name of that was. Kim's trying to think of it. You should see her face that she's making right now. It's like that. Okay. Now, dear to my heart, SpaceX. Here's some guy. Yes, he's a multi-billionaire, but he put his own program together, developed his own spaceships. NASA's not the only one, obviously, out there putting spaceships up. Obviously, SpaceX, Galactic International, Virgin Galactica, so on and so forth. So today there's many companies that are trying to put their talents all together, like SpaceX, and develop rockets that do things and space travel, transferring people back and forth to the International Space Station. International Space Station is old. Ask mom and dad. Again, I don't know the answer. There's my hesitation. Maybe in the night sky you may be looking up, okay? You might think it's a star, but son of a gun, it's moving in space. Everybody's seen them. They're satellites. But in this particular case, where the red box is, yes, it might be a star, it might be as a satellite, but in this particular case, this is the Tesla. The Tesla was put up in space by Elon Musk in 2000, what was it? 18. There you go. Why would you launch a car into space? Because you can do it. And he could do it. Would NASA ever do it? No. NASA wouldn't have done it. But he did it. Why? Just to prove that there's other things that we can put into space. Other things we can do as space travelers. Not to put a Tesla into space. We don't want a fleet of those. In fact, in another 50 years or 25 years, when you guys get older, go after that son of a gun. That's worth $1 bazillion. And bring it back with you. I'll give you 100,000 right now for the car. You go get it, I'll give you 100 grand. No problem. Maybe you've seen TVs and movies showing robots from other planets in space. This is another job. Guess what? It has nothing to do directly with space. It has to do with imagination, provoking us to think further. Who do you think they actually came to when they landed the original Apollo on the moon? It was astronomers, not necessarily amateur astronomers. You might know better, but it was professional astronomers, and I said, you're better off going here. The parking lot's really big. It was, of course, the Sea of Tranquility. Okay, so that's another job, being a movie director, specializing in space travel, space something, but another career. And it really could be really cool. Next. Thinking of robots, who likes robots? Everybody's got those things. There you go. Honest. Here's your little robot so you got running around on your floor. End results is here's somebody here working on a robot. Son of a gun. That looked like me. No, it has broader shoulders. I can do that. But then I got to talk with a German accent and say, I'll be back. Just think of it. Here's another robot. This actually is a robot that was kind of developed with 4 appendages that could hold stuff. And basically, that was geared to go onto the International Space Station arm. Instead of sending astronauts out to repair things, they could send this guy out, properly programmed, sending the software that some space software developer actually put together, and will be able to do screwing on a knob, taking off a bolt, so on and so forth. So, I mean, programmers, software designers with space in mind. Next. Maybe one of you could be this little boy here, or little girl, or bigger boy, bigger girl. Okay? Talking to 3CPO. That's kind of cool. Please?
That's R2D2.
R2D2? I'm sorry. 3CPO was a tall guy. Talk with a German and not a German. Talk with an English accent, I believe. Yes. And it wasn't Rodney Dangerfield. Okay? Even the development, here is the Hubble spacecraft, space telescope. The space telescope's been up for, look at it, 32 years. They have taken it off of its direction coming from scientists involved with NASA and so on and so forth. It's now been downgraded. People like professional astronomers and so on, they can use it. And they're using that facility. That's only one of now 3 space telescopes, because you have the Webb that just went up, which is phenomenal pictures. Anybody seen this the Webb telescope pictures? Yeah, they're phenomenal, aren't they? Looking at pictures similar to this. This was an earthbound telescope that was taken. Anybody know what that is? Go. The Orion Nebula. That's correct. Very good. So, I mean, the Christmas and all this kind of stuff. There's actually a contest, even on the internet, you guys. There's a contest to name planets that they're discovering with the Jack Webb telescope. Next. Telescopes are really cool, and you get to take pictures like this if you know the proper camera settings and proper setups. In this particular case, that picture is of Andromeda. Tonight, I don't think so, but maybe on a clearer night, you'd be able to see that with your naked eye. Not the whole thing. You'd only see this center core, which is real bright. But in reality, from end to end in our sky, it's approximately 4 full moons across. And it is only 2.964 million light years away. You can see with your naked eye, the core. With a pair of binoculars, no problem. If I was to put my laser up and point at it, you'd be able to see it with a pair of binoculars. Next. This you'd be able to see through a telescope with no problem. This is M13. This is a great globular cluster of Hercules. Why I'm showing you this is because as fledgling or even middle-aged photographers, this can be done at here on Earth. But programming, pointing the telescopes in space to that other area, a whole nother thing. The optics involved with those space telescopes is another career. I'm just lacing these things out as they come in my head. I'm sorry to scare you guys. Next. It was with I believe Viking when it passed through the area close to Uranus, when we discovered that Uranus had rings. And results are, here's 2 pictures of rings and a storm on Uranus. One of the greatest pictures or greatest views you can see in a telescope, if we have a chance and it clears up maybe a little bit more and gets a little darker, you'll be able to see Saturn tonight. Mars is right next to it. With telescopes, you can see both of these. Actually, you'd be able to see the ice cap of Mars, okay, with our telescopes. Next. There's a better shot of Mars with that, showing some of the dark areas on Mars, which is cool, but I'd much rather be there. I just want to find out what it's all about.
Ken wants to go home, much like E.T.
Yes. What planet? Wonderful. Knuckles, 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 knuckles. Okay. On the top, what is that? Anybody? We have them here on Earth. Real loud. That's correct. No, that's good. Perfect answer. A what? No, good guess. Perfect guess. That actually is the Aurora Borealis on Mars, on Jupiter. Okay, we get them here, North Pole, here on the North Pole of Jupiter. There they are. Next. Learning, deciphering pictures, finding out what is in that picture. Here's 2 galaxies actually colliding. It's happening in views on our telescope today. They're coming together. But this particular item happens to be internet. Help me out a little bit later. I need the distance to That is M51. So analyzing those pictures, that is a space career. You know, we should focus on this area here. It might be a star. It might go supernova. Our sun will go supernova. Nothing to worry about. Another couple billion years, probably like 10, but we're good. Next. Here's something very interesting. It is in scriptures, in writings in Chinese. 100 AD. I believe it was AD. AD. 100 AD. This is called the Crab Nebula. Crab Nebula is a supernova. They found this out from people who know more about it than myself, who actually analyzed it and found out, no, that's not a planetary nebula. It's not a nebula collecting that dust. It's a supernova. But in 100 BC, they had writings in Chinese. Look it up. This is M1. M1. Mercier, it stands for M. They could actually see this during the daytime when it did happen, or when that light from that event actually reached Earth. Again, if something is 1,000 light years away, it took 1,000 years for that light to reach us. So, is it gone by now? It's still up. Here it is 2,000 years later. Okay. Wizard? No, witch. The witch head, I think. This is another nebula. Nebula is where I describe the sugar in the bag and matter attracting matter till it gets to the size of approximately 10 times the size of our sun or larger, compresses on itself, and fusion is created. This is another nebula. It's called the Witch Head Nebula. Go ahead. I hope you guys get the job that you want. Oh my God. So here we are at 8:30. Okay. But that you love when you get older. The key is this is not a job for me. It's not a job for anybody here. None of us get paid. We all do it as a love of our heart, and having people like yourselves come and visit us, maybe learn something or tell us that we're FOS. So, but, you know, space jobs are guaranteed to be cool, awesome. If you go into the space industry, you become an astronaut maybe, you might meet people with your same interests and everything else, like this guy. Everybody, I heard you on the internet. E.T., Phone Home, and Elliot. Or you might meet this guy. Everybody should know this one. Yoda, that's right, Yoda. Everybody who is into science fiction in any way, shape, or form, you might have met these guys. Guardians of the Galaxy. I heard it. Okay. This is a self-portrait of me. Wait a minute. There I am. I am Groot. I wasn't going for the big guy because there's no way. But either way, again, using your imagination, being a director, an art director, or something to do with movies, somebody's got to come up with these images. And again, it's not possibly false. There might be people out there with blue skin. There might be people out there that are half bionic. Okay? When bionic, $6 million man was bionic. Or somebody who's got antenna like Kim over here.
I thought I ground off my horns
No,
today.
they're folded back into your ponytails.
Ah.
All right. So, with that, next, I thank you for hopefully signing in. There's a book inside still? No, there is no book inside. Internet, don't worry about coming to sign a book. Uh, we used to have a book in there that you can, through the internet, through our website, can get onto a page or get notifications sent to you about our upcoming programs or special events. So you might want to think about doing that if you're interested. Please.
We used to have a tablet, but you can go onto our website and there's a little, if you go to the sidebar, there's a newsletter tab. We don't send out the newsletter too often, but again, check out our website or like us on Facebook because that's where we generally put all of our events going on.
So I hope I was able to show you something interesting in space careers. Okay, there's a lot more that we have not discussed that you might think of on your own. I guarantee you think of your own because I've already wasted my old melon here. You know, United Astronomy Clubs does work on our donations. So, with that, if you'd like, make a donation. That's what keeps the doors open. That's what keeps these electronics being able to be put onto the internet and everything else. With that, any questions, please ask away. Here comes Kim.
All right. So before we get into our Q&A session, because I do know we had a couple questions online, which I know there's a couple questions out there. For all of you who are here, because I know a couple of you came in after the talk already started. If you need the bathroom, that is the porta potty to my right, your left. We do have the little museum and gift shop, and the door outlined in red to my left, your right. All of those buildings with the roll-off roofs have telescopes. Now, when we go to leave today, we are going to use our headlights on our vehicles. We do not like getting run over, and I'm sure you would enjoy also not running people over.
It becomes a real mess, and it's a pain in the butt to get it off the driveway.
Last time that happened, the paperwork was just. Ken, we would just chuck him over the rock.
Yep.
Everyone else we do paperwork for. That being said, if you do have a flashlight or whatnot, do keep that light pointed towards the ground if you are using it, because as much as we enjoy having headlights so we see that we are not running people over, we also don't necessarily want to blind people without need. All right, so we are going to get into our Q&A, and I'm going to start off with one of our online questions. This one was saying when you said they probably weren't changing the oil on the rover.
That's
and
correct.
Someone said, well, they must have done something to lubricate the moving parts. If not oil, what did they use?
Crushed up Martians. It's not like you can send, excuse me, Mr. Bill, who's a mechanic down the street, need an oil change on the rover. You know, the oils that they use have to be developed. Again, another space career. They were talking chemistry and all that. End results are that the oil and lubrications that are on there are sealed into an area where it doesn't get the dust storms and everything else. So, another space career. Thanks for asking the question.
Right. So, were there any questions from our audience here? And just, if you have a question, keep your hand up and kind of wave it around because I'm slightly blind in the dark without my distance glasses and I don't know where they went. Anyone? Bueller?
None.
All right. Well, I'm going to get the next online question was, let's see. They ask, Ken, how can they get their foot in the door for one of these space careers?
How do they get their foot in the door?
Yeah. If they
Well,
wanted to become
number-
space chef, how do they
Perfect.
become space chef?
Okay. The idea is initiating your interest. Again, what do I mean by that? If you're interested in space foods, find out about it. Look on the internet and find out where and when, what kind of development actually goes on with that, and do your investigation. As far as some of the other space careers that I talked about, and get online, find out how what's currently going on, and how you can change the possible development of. I'll stay with food, you know. Rice-a-roni in space. I don't know.
But also keep in mind, chances are, I've done some really weird Indeed job searches after this. Quite frankly, you can find a lot of interesting jobs just looking online. If you're looking for a more government subsidized job, like through NASA or whatnot, chances are go on their page. They'll, if you scroll down enough, you'll find a career tab on most people's pages nowadays. So you can like, if you're young, the first thing you need to be like, hey, I like food. Well, you're going to start going, okay, well, what do I need for my culinary career? Or, am I going into food science, and what do you need to do that? If you're doing an engineer, okay, got to get my engineering degree, and then go from there and then figure out what job you're going to get next. So, questions? Right. So, our next question was, Ken, why haven't we seen overweight astronauts?
Better go back and look at the first two astronauts that went to the International Space Station on SpaceX. The one fellow, I don't remember his name, I apologize. He was not overweight, but he wasn't trim and slim. Take a look at it. And honest to God, he was a bigger guy. He was taller than me and probably my type of shape.
Also, chances are, a lot of, for example, the International Space Station was made when a lot of people were slimmer or.
Well, the staffing that they had at that time were people that were in really good shape.
Plus, okay, moth. Sorry, I had a moth like right in my face. I'm like, couldn't focus. Plus, there's also, you come into health concerns. Because it is space, there are slightly more risks than, let's say, getting into your car. So you want to make sure that anyone you send up is able to handle emergency situations as they arise, and that you are safe and capable. Right now, of course, they wouldn't probably want someone who, just like for going down to Antarctica to spend the winter, you want people who are healthy, who you're not going to have to emergency evacuate.
Next question.
All right. Next question. Anyone here? Is that a question I see in the back? Was that a putting your head down? No.
We
I'm
have
gonna
a
come
question
out.
from the audience. Hesitation, hesitation, hesitation. I'm hesitating already. I'm afraid of the question.
Oh no, there's more than one person in blue. Which blue person? Ah. Oh. All right. Here.
Did Mars used to have water?
Mars used to have water. In my non-scientific mind, absolutely.
Mars still has water with ice.
And it was definitely actually proven when one of the wheels on one of the current rovers that is on Mars, actually the lubrication failed and it stopped rotating, and they dragged it and they looked back at it to see what the problem was, and they had removed an inch or two of dust that was there, and it was white, and the assumption is that was frozen water.
All right. So our next question is actually pointing out, Ken, you actually do have a space career.
Yeah, between my ears.
No, they're talking about the fact that this, in fact, volunteering at the observatory, giving public programs, speaking about space, is in fact a type of space career that you don't even need to leave the planet.
You're kind of right, but a career means you're earning money at it. I ain't earning nothing. Nobody gets paid here. So, is it a space career? No, it's a space hobby with mine. Along with everybody else that is here.
All right. Was there another question out here? Everyone's quiet. Except for the crickets. All right.
With that.
The next question was, you had asked how far M51 is, and it's approximately 23 million light years.
23 million light years. 51. 51 is the two colliding galaxies. Okay? So, when my picture was taken, the light had already traveled through space to Earth for 25 million years. It's kind of hokey. I know. I know. It's start thinking about space time and. Oof.
This next
All
question
right.
is funny. It was in response to the fact you're not making money.
Yes.
It was, well, does Ken do birthdays and bar mitzvahs?
Is that one of the questions?
Yes. Do I need to?
Whatever you want. Just give me a call. I'll give UACNJ a little note.
Yeah, you
I'll
can
come.
contact us through our
internet.
website, and we actually have had birthday parties up here, and like Girl Scout troops and whatnot. So, were there any last minute questions? I'm putting a
Oh.
last call.
I see a hand. One more time, way high.
And just keep it up, otherwise I lose you.
Okay, one more
It's dark.
question. Then I gotta set up my telescope.
How many stars are there in the world?
How many stars are there?
Trillions upon trillions upon trillions. I don't know the exact 32.
At least.
No, there's trillion upon trillions of stars in our own galaxy. On top of all the galaxies that we kind of know of, I don't know, put a few more zeros, probably like 10, and that's how many stars are. There's a lot of stars.
Yeah, and they just uncovered a whole bunch of newer galaxies because the James Webb Telescope is that
Somebody
much.
big in the back,
better.
somebody small in
Oh.
the front.
Let me go to the back first and work my way up forward.
She's going to come back to you, sir. Guaranteed.
How do astronauts sleep in space?
Are there astronauts?
How do astronauts sleep in space?
Like this.
Actually, I think they if you go onto the NASA channel, they did do a YouTube video on this where I believe they have specially designed sleeping bags that are like velcroed to the wall
The-
so they don't just go floating off.
Excellent question. But they're in something like a sleeping bag, if you will, but totally harnessed in, and they're floating. But they're actually tethered to the area where the bedding is, so they don't bump into anything that kind of like makes bells and whistles go off and all kinds of stuff. Right over here.
Very angry cars, very angry.
How many star signs are there in the Milky Way galaxy?
I didn't hear that.
He wanted to know how many star signs. What do you mean by that, hun?
Like stars.
Oh, he wants to know how many constellations are in. How many constellations do we have?
A bunch. Nah, in what we can see is approximately 13, but there are more in the southern hemisphere.
I actually
I'm
know
going to
the
answer you honestly. No, I don't know.
So Ken doesn't know,
I
but
don't know. Hey, that's another career you can look into. Sit around a campfire, get yourself a bottle of rum, look up at the stars and say, that looks like a crab. I mean, how the heck did anybody dream that the star arrangement looks like a crab? Had to be after a large party.
right. And to actually give you a more serious answer to that question, for our planet, we have 88 officially recognized constellations for the world. And that was decided by a committee of probably old men in a back closet somewhere. And you can remember this by the fact that there are equal number of constellations as there are keys on a keyboard or keys on a piano, like just a standard piano. And I know this because I attend every talk. There's only so
Excellent,
many
thank
times I
you.
can hear the same information before I start learning. Right? Any other?
She's got the answer right in front of her, guys. She didn't know that. She looked it up on the internet.
Nope. It's been chat
No,
the
it
entire
wasn't.
time.
No, it wasn't internet.
Right. Were there any last minute questions? Anyone? Is that one that I saw in the back corner there?
No, that's a
Yeah.
light going on. Oh,
No, I think there
no,
is.
I see a hand going. Ooh.
This is why I asked you to wave it around a little
And it
bit
looks like
because
we're going to have a
unfortunately I'm blind.
night. Overhead is the
Do
summer
stars
triangle.
move?
She wants to know if stars move.
Stars don't move. We do. In other words, we're on Earth and we're rotating night to day, day to night. End results are is it looks like the stars are moving in the sky or move across the sky in an evening. In reality, they're not moving. We're rotating.
That
And
being said, they also might rotate.
they blink too.
Stars
Welcome
do a
to
lot of
atmosphere
strange
and
things.
variable stars.
Right. Well, it looks like we've actually exhausted all our online questions. And it looks like we got most of our questions done out here. I want to thank everyone for coming. Oh, I'm not going to trip over that rock. Right. Once again, thank you all for joining us, both online and in person here, and have a good night.